Welcome to Let's Talk 23. My name is Falcon. I will be your host today. We're going to take a first look at Luminar AI, the latest software product from Skylum. I have to tell you that I am extremely impressed. I've only been working with it for about a half hour. It is feature-rich and well-designed, and it allows you to have the best of both worlds, which is to say, if you are a novice or a photographer who doesn't want to make a lot of changes, you can produce really good images really quickly. On the other hand, if you're a professional, it gives you the opportunity to adjust virtually every aspect of the photo, some of which we're going to deal with in greater depth in future episodes of Let's Talk. This is the interface. If you right-click on the image, by the way, there are a number of different options that are available to you. If I had, for example, modified this image in any way, I could reset it here. I can copy my adjustments if I'm going to work on another image. I can go to albums, I can remove it from my editing bar, which appears at the bottom of the screen. I can hide or display the histogram. Clicking on the histogram, by the way, shows you the different colors and luminescence. I'd like to see it made larger, but for the moment, that's fine. So far in my time working with Luminar, again, roughly half an hour, the only downside is that, like every other application these days, it wants to catalog your images. I can't drag and drop, but the good news is I don't have to use the catalog feature. We have a hierarchical file structure. I can find what I want as quickly as I need to. I don't need software clogging up my machine with yet another folder filled with catalogs. So very simply, if you click on the plus, it will allow you to add an image. One of the things that's really nice is it gives you the opportunity to start out with a suggestion as to how you might finish the image. So for example, if I wanted to use the urban style, which is what it is suggesting, I click on it and you can see that it automatically brings up a number of different options that are really nice. Keep in mind, by the way, that the machine on which I'm working has 32 gigs of RAM, a terabyte SSD, and an NVIDIA video board with 6 gigs of video RAM. This machine will move really quickly. If you're working on a particularly large image on a less powerful machine, you will probably experience delays. So for the sake of our demo today, I'm going to add a sunset effect. And in the half an hour that I've been working with Luminar AI, I've come to really like the Toscana. As you can see, the effect is dramatic. Even though this image was shot in midday, I've given it a bit of a sunset look. So let's go through the basics. At this point, I can either go back to templates and choose another one, or we're going to go to edit. If you've watched any of our other post-processing videos, you know that we have a very specific method by which we proceed, and that is from the top down. So in terms of how the options are laid out here, we're not going to deal with composition or with erase. We're going to start with light. As you can expect, everything in here can be adjusted as I wish. Notice the eyedropper. If I want to change my color temperature, I can. The exposure is okay. I'm going to leave it alone. I am going to pick up my smart contrast, which I'm very impressed with. And if you're watching up here, the word Luminar AI changes color, a kind of ribbon effect while it's working. I am going to drop my highlights a little bit, darken them. And I'm going to brighten my shadows just a tad. If this were a black and white image, I would have the ability to control my blacks and my whites. And by the way, you can reset by clicking on the back arrow at any time. Next, we're going to come to Enhance. I'm going to accentuate it, which is a kind of vibrance. It's smart enough to understand the difference between the entire image and the sky, so watch what happens here. As you can see, the sky has been adjusted. I can make it more dramatic, but I really like it there, to show you what we've been able to do in a very short period of time. The original and where we are. Similarly with structure, I have the ability to boost it. The original template took care of a lot of that, so I'm going to let that go. By the way, if you think of templates as presets, that's probably the easiest way to cross between applications like DxO and Photoshop and Affinity Photo and Luminar AI. I have the ability, of course, to manipulate color. Watch what happens when I remove the color cast. You can see my reds have changed. I'm going to bring that back down. I also have the ability to pick up my saturation, just for the sake of demonstration, and vibrance. And you can see the image is really popping. Similarly, this is a phenomenal opportunity to really customize your image. At the moment, I'm going to leave them exactly where they are. I like it. I'm very impressed with it. So, at this point, we've touched on everything that we're going to look at, except for, let's talk about landscape. I'm going to bring up the details. And I'm going to sharpen it just a little bit. I can detail mask, protect my details. I can sharpen. I'm going to leave the sharpening exactly where it is. The denoising is excellent. Not much here, but for the sake of demonstration and under advanced settings, I can boost it even more. There are settings specific to landscaping, including dehaze and foliage enhancer. If I want to add a golden hour effect, I can. It won't be as obvious in this image, in part because of the nature of how I've adjusted the sky. Let's look quickly at a couple of other options. At this point, as far as I'm concerned, the image is ready for export before and after. There is an option called Creative. That gives you the opportunity to add further effects that are really incredible. For example, mystical. If I want to colorize it, I can further manipulate. I'm going to reset. If I want to work with matte, I can fade. You can see the changes occurring to the image. And I can make it more vivid. Again, I'm going to reset. Oh, one more thing. Notice here, by the way, I can turn that off. This is a masking tool, which we're going to talk about in later videos. Let's look at one more. Let's go to Augmented Sky. Object selection. I can pick any one of these. It will automatically add the effect. And I can relight the image. Under advanced settings, similarly, I can refine, I can defocus, I can flip the object. Again, for the moment, we're going to go back to the basic template and leave it there. There are a complete set of portrait controls which don't apply to this image. We'll be coming to that another time. There are professional settings. For example, I can defringe, I can correct lens distortion, I can remove a vignette, I can establish the vignette midpoint, de-vignetting. Super contrast, I haven't played with this very much. Again, I've been with this for about a half an hour now. But it looks to me like it's going to be a phenomenal tool for creating extremely dramatic images. Let's look at before and after. Notice how much detail has been added to the grass as well as to the barn itself. Color harmony, color contrast. If I want to fix my color contrast, I can. I can adjust the hue. And you can see how quickly it's responding. Again, we'll reset that when we're done. Color warmth, color balance, cyan to red, magenta to green. I can dodge and burn, I can clone stamp. So let's go back to the basics for a moment. I'm going to give you a preview of one more tool, and then I think we're going to be done. And that is under composition. You can, of course, crop, but what's particularly interesting, by the way, rotate and flip, but also the 3D transformation. Watch what happens. Keep in mind, this is an extremely powerful machine. You can see the image began to move. And I can now change my perspective without the kind of cropping that would need to be done in other applications. Obviously, there are limits to what you can do, and we'll be exploring this in future videos. But for the moment, absolutely incredible. Once again, I'm going to reset it. And we're going to go back to Essentials. There we are. By the way, anytime you can reset adjustments. If I choose to save, it's going to save it in the Luminar format. And at this point, I'm free to export, in this case to disk. I have additional options, obviously. Remember here, your best bet for exporting is to export in native size and native resolution, which is most often 72, not 240 dpi. I always save in a TIFF format because it saves all of the information, but that's another conversation for another day as well. So before, after, quick, easy, simple, yet incredibly sophisticated with a myriad of tools. Well worth the money, well worth the investment. Congratulations, Skylum.
If you want to contact us, we can be reached at NyghtFalcon.com or our magazine site, nightvision.com. And if you want to email me directly, you can reach me at inspiration@NyghtFalcon.com.